You've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Patrick Christys, and this is Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, breaking right now. The Sun has accusations of a rape cover-up against an asylum seeker in a taxpayer-funded hotel in an effort to avoid community tensions. I'll bring you all the details. In other news, we are looking at a whole host of front pages carrying the assisted dying story, but opinions remain massively split amongst the major publications. And another national newspaper again is calling for airheads to roll. Yes, airheads. Counter-terrorism police are now investigating after the Palestine Action Group got on to the RAF base. Will we have more detail for you about how they managed to do that? I certainly hope so. And
well, they should give me the Nobel Prize for Rwanda, and if you look, the Congo, or you could say Serbia, Kosovo. They won't give me a Nobel Peace Prize because they only give it to liberals.
well, President Obama got one for dropping more bombs on the Middle East than anyone else. But is it time for President Trump to get his Nobel Peace Prize? Plus,
we go, there's a business. All of that is just part of that creativity that I've missed so much. So.
She's got a creative brain ticking, everybody. Watch out. Meghan Markle is set to launch more, as ever, merchandise. Even, apparently, a new rosé. Oh, and Ascot. Bit of fun. Oh, not so much for these lads. Joining me this evening to take you through all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages and what's inside the book as well is the wonderful Christo Foufas. We also have Jane Stevenson, former Tory MP, and current Labour MP Barry Gardner. What's not to love? A whole host of news. We're going to do the absolute lot of it after your headlines.
Good evening from the newsroom. The top story at 11. MPs have voted to back legalising assisted dying in England and in Wales by a narrow margin of 23 votes.
The ayes to the right, 314. The noes to the left, 291.
The terminally ill adults bill now heads to the House of Lords, bringing this historic change one step closer to law. It follows hours of deeply personal debate, with MPs voting according to conscience, not party lines. Labour's Kim Leadbeater, who proposed the bill, says she's over the moon. But critics warn it's a dangerous step, rushed through without proper safeguards and driven by emotion over evidence. The bill would allow terminally ill adults with less than 6 months to live to end their lives with medical help. Donald Trump says Iran is weeks or months away from building a nuclear weapon and claims Europe is powerless to stop it. Speaking in New Jersey earlier this evening, he told reporters Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe, they want to speak to us. He also cast doubt on today's Geneva talks, saying they didn't help, and warned it's hard to ask Israel to hold back. And he's hit back at his Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, rejecting her claim that there's no evidence Iran is even developing a weapon.
My intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong. It's very hard to stop. When you look at it, Israel's doing well in terms of war. And I think you would say that Iran is doing less well. It's a little bit hard to get somebody to stop.
Back here at home, London is bracing for a day of high-stakes protests tomorrow as tensions over the Middle East are set to spill onto the streets. Thousands will rally under the Palestine Coalition, marching to Downing Street with speeches from Jeremy Corbyn and Paloma Faith. Pro-Israel group Stop the Hate will stage a counter-protest nearby. Police have said they will enforce strict protest conditions and warn demonstrators to stick to set routes or face possible arrest. Meanwhile, the Home Secretary is set to ban Palestine action after its activists sabotaged RAF jets in Oxfordshire. Footage posted online shows activists inside the base, one riding a scooter and spraying paint into a jet engine. Yvette Cooper is expected to prescribe the group under the Terrorism Act, making it a criminal offence to support them. The move follows a counter-terror investigation today into the incident, but Parliament will need to approve the ban before it comes into force. And Romanian police have launched a fresh investigation into influencer Tristan Tate over claims he broke election laws during the country's recent presidential vote. Authorities say he posted political content on social media on election day, which is illegal in Romania. Tate, though, denies campaigning, insisting he is, quote, an American man in Dubai using an American platform. He's due to be questioned on Tuesday. His brother Andrew isn't involved in the case, but both are facing separate charges in Romania and here in the UK, which they continue to deny. That's it from me for tonight. I'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon. Now, though, it's back to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Let's start by getting you bang up to date with all of the front pages. Let's start with the Daily Mail. So this is on assisted dying, and they say now the peers vow to fight the law on assisted dying. So the Lords are apparently going to try to block this decision today. Let's go to the Independent. MPs vote to make assisted dying legal by a majority of just 23. The Prime Minister, by the way, is among those backing the law change, so he did nail his colours to the mast and vote for it. We go to The Sun. Now, there's two big stories on the front of The Sun here. The first one is about that Palestine action break into the RAF base, but the second one, and the one that's new and the one that we're going to be talking about a lot in this section, is Asylum Hotel's, quote, rape cover-up. Now, a rape charge against a man staying in an asylum hotel was kept quiet as officials feared inflaming community tensions. That's the allegation on the front of The Sun. There's more detail to that. I'll bring it to you shortly. But the Daily Express just has simply victory. Now, the Daily Express, you know, that was the one really where Esther Ransom, wasn't it, was backing this campaign, calling for assisted dying. They've obviously got their side to this. They are claiming victory over assisted dying. The Mirror. MPs back assisted dying. They've played that one straight down the line, haven't they, really? The Eye, NHS to choose between lethal... Oh, this is grim, isn't it? To choose between lethal drink or jab after MPs vote for assisted dying. You know what? When I'll finish the papers, let's zone in on this one, because this is actually like the mechanics of it now, isn't it? Really, and we've nudged the story on. We've got, what have we got next here now, paper-wise? Is it The Telegraph, I think we're doing? Yeah, The Telegraph. And their front pages, DNA tests for every baby on the NHS. That's a bizarre front page. Advances will allow people to leapfrog fatal disease. Interesting, so every single baby will have their DNA mapped under the NHS, which presumably will be able pretty much to tell you what they're going to die from, which is a bit well, weird. Anyway, The Times, uphill battle for assisted dying bill to become law. They're, of course, talking about the fact that it could still be blocked. And The Guardian, assisted dying bill passed in historic vote. And the Daily Star has gone for Pope versus bots, is that right? Pope versus bots. I'm trying to find... I'm not entirely sure what the actual detail of that is here. Let's find out for you. Thank you very much, Jade. Pope Leo, AI is doing the devil's work. There we go. So apparently the Pope is against AI. He thinks it's the devil. We've also got a picture of Colleen Rooney in a swimsuit there. So, you know, which if the Pope won't sell your papers, maybe Colleen will. But let's get the thoughts of my wonderful panel this evening. We've got Barry Gardner, Jane Stevenson and Christo Foufas with us. Can we bring up the copy of The Eye, please? Because across most of tomorrow's front pages, we've got assisted dying. That was the big news of the day. We have now voted for it. But The Eye have gone for NHS to choose between lethal drink or jab. So terminally ill people who are fewer than 6 months will be allowed to apply for an assisted death. This is apparently the method of which they're thinking of doing it. I mean, it's a bit grim, isn't it? But I suppose, Christo, I mean, this is the next level. We have to think about how you're going to do it, right?
And you're right, these are the mechanics. This is really going to bring into sharp focus what this will actually entail. And the mechanics, of course, meaning that when you are really ill, can you actually swallow a liquid? That's exactly, that's something that happens. So will it then need to be administered by someone else? Will that be a doctor that does it? Would it be a family member that does it? How would that actually work? And I think that, I mean, it's interesting that this is obviously something that he's debating after this has been gone through Parliament, because I wonder whether these sorts of details would have changed people's opinions had we known, had we thought that far ahead. Because this is grim. It's horrible.
I think we did, actually. I wasn't on the committee, but I think they did go through what the process would be. And my understanding is that the person has to administer it to themselves. So if they're drinking it, they have to physically take it and drink it. It cannot be administered to you.
But then
it will be
with
prepared.
real...
I understand, but that's why it's got to be before they get to the stage where they no longer have capacity. As you know, I voted against the bill. But just to be clear, what I thought was very interesting today was a speech by, I think it was a Conservative member, who said, just to let you know how this is, it doesn't always go well. And he cited cases in Canada where people had real complications, and he spared us the detail, but you know, the idea that this is going to be a painless death and it's all going to be fine and it's going to be a way to avoid suffering may not in every case be true.
Yes, and you know, I'm sorry we're talking about this, but you know, it's not our fault, is it? There was a massive news in Parliament today. People voted for this. It's happening. We have to be realistic about practically what that means, and it does mean this. Because if we try to bring up the copy of the Daily Mail's front page now, if that's OK, because the other angle to this is that it might not happen. So the MPs voted for it. There was not a huge majority. I think it was 23, was it, in the Commons today. But the Mail are saying, Jane, now the peers vow to fight the law on assisted dying. So it appears that the House of Lords might block it. Is that right?
Well, you hope that the Lords will have an attempt to iron out some of the concerns that were raised in the final reading today. Diane Abbott's speech, it really was worth listening to, and she raised the issue that doctors are allowed to mention this to you if they deem that you probably are within this 6-month window. And she raised the most vulnerable people who just defer to people in authority. Those are from marginalised communities. And she said every single MP in that House is able to challenge authority. They are able to stand up for themselves. But you're sent there for the people who cannot do that. And I think that point, I don't know how the Lords can try to iron some of this out, but if they do make it topple, I don't think this bill is the right bill to get such an important legislative change. Indeed, and just to kind of point here on the right-wing press, because it's divided them. You've got the Daily Mail with that headline you can see on your screen there. You've got the Daily Express claiming victory. So it's fascinating to see how this divides people. I also think that is just the nature of the issue, isn't it? I think when it comes to assisted dying, and I am very sympathetic, you know, to anyone who's had to watch a loved one pass away in horrific circumstances. I get it. My main concern, I think, is the slippery slope side of it. I want to bring us on to the Sun's front page because there is a new story here. So we've not had this story yet today, and I think it's going to be leading a lot of the news agenda tomorrow. So it's a rape charge against a man staying in an asylum hotel was kept quiet as officials feared about inflaming community tensions. This is what the Sun has gone for. There were also 2 other rape cases where it was not disclosed that the suspects were in taxpayer-funded asylum hotels. This Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick has said that the perception of a migrant cover-up was growing. He went on to say the illegal small boat crossings are a national security emergency. We've seen terrorism, murders, rapes from those who've come here illegally. It's outrageous. Women in towns with asylum hotels shouldn't have to live in fear. So, no one is named in all of this and, you know, allegations and all of that stuff. However, you know, this is
pretty grim, really, if the British public have had to try to have it covered up from them that people who are in asylum hotels have been charged with rape.
I mean, they've learnt nothing. Southport, that unrest happened because rumours started spreading and the perception that things were being covered up by the state to, you know, emoliate some sort of community cohesion agenda. People deserve to know the truth about these sort of things. The sort of fallout will be far worse if people do think things are being covered up.
So I'm going... This is all in The Sun. The rape suspects were all housed in Home Office-funded accommodation in Portsmouth, London and Manchester.
So it's actually, just to jump in, it's actually 3 separate rape charges that have been filed against 3 separate migrants at 3 separate asylum hotels, which are taxpayer-funded. And one of them was on June 11th. You're quite right. And so it's, just to reiterate your point, it's not just about Southport. They haven't learned anything from grooming gangs. Because, of course, the reason that is being cited is community tension. It's those information vacuums that lead to a distrust of the state. It leads to rumour and speculation, and it leads to a huge amount of anger. Now, I don't know how you solve it, because I have a little bit of sympathy with wanting to not have community tensions, a little bit, in as much as at a time where, after Southport, what do authorities do now? However, my gut tells me to err on the side of just giving as much information as possible.
Go on, Barry.
Look, I agree that, you know, you have to be transparent. But I just wonder here, because it says they feared inflaming community tension. But what is the normal practice when somebody, when there's an allegation of rape?
You quite often get an address or a road name.
You might, but the key point is you do not identify the person. And so the failure to identify in this case may simply be standard practice, and I'm not saying it is.
I don't think it is. But I get you what you're saying.
I just want to put the other side of this. This could be that they felt that if they identified even the address, then the individual would be.
But I
think it's more about, if anything, if they tend to not identify someone who's charged with this if there's a risk that it might identify their alleged victim, which potentially sounds unlikely in this case, but we don't know. So maybe that's it.
But people want reassurance. You know, those communities, it will de-escalate this if people know that the allegation has been followed up.
The norm is that the individuals accused of rape are not automatically granted anonymity. You're quite right, unless it is going to identify the victim. So we don't know that. But bearing in mind that this is being cited as inflaming community tensions from officials.
In these cases where we don't know who these people getting off boats are, we don't know the security risk, the communities they're in want reassurance the person has been apprehended and they are safe.
We're also told this doesn't happen. This really, really, really winds me up. Near where I'm from originally, there's a migrant hotel now in a place called Altrincham in Greater Manchester. It's the Cresta Court Hotel, which, by the way, I don't think is in... Well, I don't know, but I don't think is any of these. It's not named any of these, so I don't want people to do anything silly. My point is, one day, locals found out there's like 300 blokes in the Middle East who've just moved in there. And the police officer came out and did a big community thing to say, we've had a hotel like this, we've had no incidents whatsoever of anything, and people are saying, well, I think that might be BS. And then you see stories like this where you've got these allegations from 3 separate locations around the country where there has allegedly been a cover-up, and you think, well, maybe they are just covering these up. There was the guy as well who did kill, has been found guilty of it, murdering an elderly man outside an accommodation for asylum seekers in Hartlepool. Well, at the time when that happened, and it was a Conservative government that did this, but at the time when that happened, they put a D notice on it to say, no, for national security, you can't talk about it. We all knew it happened. You had to wait to go to court. I don't think that would have happened if that was just a British bloke who'd stabbed a pensioner. I don't think they would have done that. So there is this perception of cover-up, 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 like we had with the grooming gangs, if it involves someone, because the various governments don't want the locals or the people here to think that there's anything going on.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
I absolutely agree. And I think that is, you know, we've got to look at the reasons why people get so angry and frustrated. And inevitably, what the mistake is made is that they're all just called far right. And to me, if you are rioting on the street and attacking random people because of their ethnicity as a result of your frustration about all of this, you have been radicalised in a way in which other people are sometimes radicalised. And it's an awful abhorrent type of radicalisation. But when it comes to radicalisation, normally, we are more intelligent about it. We're quite sophisticated. We look at the reasons why someone's got radicalised. But in this instance, we're not doing that. We're just trying to continue to cover things up. And that's going to lead to more trouble.
Very quickly,
I just think this is the sort of thing that undermines trust in authority and in government. And that's why sunlight is the best disinfectant. Get transparency in there, and then people at least know that they're not being hoodwinked.
OK, of course. OK, right, well, we covered a couple of huge stories there, really. When I come back, a lot more, some of it more light-hearted, you'll be pleased to know. Meghan Markle's launched a new drinks range, yay. And President Trump apparently wants a Nobel Peace Prize. So we'll bring you the very latest on all of that and tomorrow's front pages. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
It's been a long old time now. Other missing cases. How do we prioritise that, despite, obviously, you know, Madeleine McCann being one of the most high-profile mysteries of my lifetime, for sure. I think and again, I think you're right to point out, though, that if there is even the remotest of chances that... because sometimes an individual case can symbolise and mean something more in the public consciousness than in isolation. And I think this is such a case. It's something that I think people still deeply care about. So if there's any remote chance, I think they've got to go for it.
Well, let's hope something is found. These searches, as we know, are going to continue until Friday, unless, of course, fresh evidence is found, in which case they will continue.
I take it all sort of quite personally, because we holidayed in the area. I had children the same age at the time, and there used to be posters in the airport, you know, asking, have you seen this girl, and whatever. And my kids were very aware of it, you know, and you'd point out and talk about it and whatever. So I often think it could have been as easily one of my children involved in all of this, and you do take it personally.
And I think a lot of people in the country would feel that way. It's in the nation's psyche, isn't it, Madeleine McCann?
Yeah.
We all know her, we know her face, we feel as though we know her as a little girl. I think everybody would like to have answers as to what happened to her.
Right, OK, so the Portuguese police are saying about this, the search warrant was issued by the Public Prosecutor's Office in Germany, which is conducting preliminary proceedings against a German citizen suspected of the murder of a British citizen, Madeleine Beth McCann.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. I'm going to zone in on two more front pages for you now. Both of them are climate-related, both of them a bit weird. So the Daily Telegraph first, if that's OK. There's a story at the bottom of the Daily Telegraph tomorrow, a little nib, as we call it. Heat waves to trigger a net zero meltdown. So the detail on this is that heat pumps, electric cars and solar panels are Are they not going to work because it's too hot, Christo?
Yeah, basically, because of the technologies are at risk of breaking down when warm weather hits over 27 degrees. So you get solar panels on your house thinking that this is going to be brilliant. Oh, great. Hurrah, hot weather. This is going to power my house and it's going to help towards the net zero. And then it breaks down, as well as your heat pump, as well as everything else. And therefore, your electric car, you can't even get into it to cool yourself down, because that's also broken.
Can I just point out that the cheapest electricity in the world is currently being produced in Saudi Arabia and Morocco, where the temperatures are over 40 degrees, and it's all with solar panels. So the story, I think, is perhaps not worth the front page.
I think we need the statistics.
I guarantee you that the solar panels we will produce here, just like the trains, just like anything else, will break down at 20 degrees, because other countries, they have trains at minus 18, they have trains at 50 degrees. We don't here.
I wish they were being produced here. They're still being produced elsewhere. But under a Labour government, they will be produced here.
All right. I wonder why. If maybe Ed Miliband read stories like this and realised that we did, in fact, need to drill a bit in the North Sea. But anyway, but Jake, you got a bit of skin in the game on this, because actually, you're getting some of this technology tomorrow.
I am on Tuesday. I'm actually working in industrial solar stuff and green technology, because it's saving businesses a lot of money because the cost of energy is so high. So I agree with Barry on, you'd have to have very extreme temperature, but I think leaving batteries in sunlight, if you've got a domestic battery that's on a wall that isn't shaded, that potentially...
You don't want
but you need the statistics.
But the reason is because there's two climate stories. If we go to page 4 of tomorrow's Guardian, or today, if you're watching us on catch-up, the current heat wave in England and Wales is expected to kill almost 600 people, scientists say. So this heat that we're experiencing at the moment, they've put a figure on it. Apparently, the spike in deaths would not be occurring without human-caused global heating. So the Guardian are they going to be disappointed when 600 people don't die tomorrow?
These stories irritate me so much, because this is just the copy that you were talking about, because this is wheeled out. Every time we have a nice bit of summer weather and it's nice and hot, we get the doom mongers selling newspapers telling us we're all going to die. And it's so important, by the way, that we all stay safe. It's a 15-paragraph article. It's only paragraph 14 where they tell us that we need to drink water, make sure that we don't go in the sun between 11 and 3, and look out for older people.
And hang on a second, sorry, but Christy, you're obviously Greek, right?
Yes.
Can you read out the name of the doctor from
Gary Phallos Constantinoudis.
Yeah, good. Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? You can say if it's Dr. Constantinoudis, you can take that to the bank. I mean, this is a bit of a scare story, isn't it?
It is, and it says it's the West Midlands and London are the two hotspots.
Watch out.
As the ginger on the panel, who certainly doesn't like hot weather, I don't go out in the sun, I stay, but keeping hydrated, and a word of warning, all those people still walking their dogs on pavements, and the asphalt gets to, horrific temperatures.
If you leave your dog in your car, then I'm afraid you need to basically be executed.
But we have to say it every year.
Go on, Barry, your views on this?
Look, excess winter deaths are something that we're used to in this country. And we know that, in a bad winter, that can be 40,000 excess deaths. If you look at Spain, right, they have excess winter deaths that are the most anywhere in Europe. And the reason is their homes are built to shelter you from the sun. They're built to be cool.
Right.
Our homes are built to be warm, or at least we try and build them to be warm, and that does mean that people do get overheated.
Okay.
So it's a real issue, but people need to take the notice of exactly what Christo said.
Just drink water.
Keep cool, keep well ventilated, don't wear woolly jumpers.
Do we have to catastrophise over this basic advice? Drink a glass of water, don't go out when it's blazing hot sunshine, but can we not just enjoy some nice weather without all being told constantly we're going to die?
You're going to die. Well, let's whiz ourselves on, because this is another story from this evening. President Donald Trump has suggested that he is worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts in the Middle East. We can hear from President Trump right now.
Well, they should give me the Nobel Prize for Rwanda, and if you look, the Congo, or you could say Serbia, Kosovo. They won't give me a Nobel Peace Prize because they only give it to liberals.
They only give it to Liberals. I mean, he has got a point. Obama got one for what? I mean, he dropped more bombs in the Middle East than anyone else ever, I think, President Obama, didn't he? So maybe Trump, Barry, maybe President Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Nope. No. OK, right.
I'm not dignifying that with a considered, eloquent response. It's just a straight no.
OK, well...
I mean, he would have had more claim to it had he got through a second presidency without threatening to bomb anywhere, I would say.
And if there were actually
leverage.
Peace.
Yeah, because
if we saw peace in the Middle East, he
brought peace in the Ukraine within a day. He told us before he became president he would bring peace within a day. You know, so.
Oh, we'll see. Well, anyway, I mean, I doubt he is going to get the Nobel Peace Prize. However, I do also acknowledge that some of the other people who've got it has been a bit ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why Obama. I mean, Obama. There was a time when Obama just won everything for being Obama, wasn't there?
I worked with Wangari Maathai. Right. Who was the Nobel Peace Prize winner from Africa, to set up the Congo Basin Forest Fund. And she got it because of all the reforestation that she did in Africa. An amazing woman, you know. So there are some really good winners of the Peace Prize who've just transformed lives, thousands, millions of lives across the continent. And
Obama?
Well, Obama, I think...
Worth it?
I think Obama got it almost the day he became president, didn't he?
Well, yeah.
So there was a question, what was he getting it for? And I agree with that. I think he was getting it for being the first black president and the role model for people.
Why do you get a Peace Prize for that?
Look, I totally get it. I'm just saying that I think
it was possibly a token thing. Right, OK, loads more coming your way, including, well, here she is.
Here we go, there's a business. All of that is just part of that creativity that I've missed so much. So.
Yeah, sorry about this, but Meghan Markle launches a whole new range of merchandise, which, can you believe, has already sold out. Find out what she's launched next. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Plenty of weather to talk about this weekend. Saturday's another hot day for many, but not for all. And then comes the risk of some lively thunderstorms as fresher air arrives from the west. We've got high pressure still in control as we go into the weekend, but that's shifting east, allowing hot air to be drawn northwards across the UK. Certainly a warm night tonight, despite the clear skies. Temperatures widely holding up in the mid to high teens, and in some spots no lower than 20 or 21 Celsius. Chance of some thicker cloud and some showers coming into the southwest by dawn. Otherwise, it's a dry and warm start to the weekend. Those temperatures are soon rising, particularly through the Midlands and eastern England. That's going to be where we'll see the highest temperatures through the day. Some cloud, some low cloud hugging the coast of eastern Scotland. But it's a relatively warm start wherever you are. Now, we do have some cloud arriving into Northern Ireland, and it's in Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, parts of West Wales and the southwest where the first signs of a change are arriving. A chance of some showers coming through, but the main activity really is at the end of Saturday. Ahead of any showers, we keep the strong June sunshine at its strongest on Saturday, the summer solstice, of course, and that will allow temperatures to rise widely into the high 20s, low 30s across eastern parts of the UK, and could be as high as 34 Celsius, depending on the timing of any cloud and showers arriving from the west. It's going to feel a bit fresher in the west, but still relatively humid, and then we've got these lively thunderstorms moving through overnight. North Wales, North Midlands, Northern England could see some absolute whoppers, causing all manner of impacts. And then on Sunday, the chance of some further heavy downpours into Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales before all that clears away, and a changeable week next week, but feeling fresher.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition. A veritable feast on tomorrow's newspaper front pages. The vast majority of them are about MPs voting for assisted dying. Front pages, though, like the Daily Mail, for example, are saying that now the House of Lords might be able to block it. However, the Daily Express is saying this is a victory. They've campaigned alongside Esther Ranson for this, so that's where they are. However, there's an interesting story on the front of the Daily Telegraph. It's the big lead story they've gone with on the Daily Telegraph. DNA tests for every baby on the NHS. So advances will allow people to leapfrog fatal diseases, receive personalised care. Now, it all sounds a bit weird, this, and futuristic, but I think that's because it is a bit, really, isn't it? Barry, you feel quite strongly about this.
Yeah, look, I think this is a fantastic opportunity, but I think it's also a huge risk. The opportunity is that we can tell what susceptibilities kids are going to have in later life. We can make sure that there's prevention, and getting any disease before it starts is the best way of doing it, right? But the difficulty here is who's going to keep this data, right?
Yeah.
Now, as the National Health Service, it's right that we should have that on behalf of the patient and help the patient. But what will happen is drugs companies will want that data, and they will want to use it then to personalise drugs for individuals and use that in a commercial way. If that happens, it must be, this is a public good. The NHS has this information, and that data must be used for the public good. And that means that any pharmaceutical advances, the funding should flow back into the health service.
OK, it's a series of interesting points. The detail on this is that the report is that within a decade, every newborn baby will undergo whole genome sequencing, which assesses the future risk of hundreds of diseases. Makes me feel a bit creepy, but I suppose if you know... It's that thing, isn't it? It is actually ultimately that question. If you knew how you were going to die and when, would you want to know? And I probably would want to know, but mainly so that I could... If someone said to me, you've only got 5 years left, then I'd probably just go mental for 5 years, in a way that I wouldn't if I thought I had another 60.
Yeah, I worry as well about this in as much as, will that then be available to insurance companies? Will I want to take private medical insurance? And they'll say, have you got any pre-existing conditions? No, absolutely not. I'm completely healthy. And they'll say, well, actually, sorry, you are due to be getting cancer in 10 years, but I haven't got cancer. Yeah, but you might do, so we're going to bump up your premium
it's the susceptibility.
Or not cover you.
That's exactly right. It's the susceptibility, and the insurance companies will want to know that because it's a risk factor.
And the NHS will probably sell it to them as well, because there has been a precedent, I think, in the past, but the NHS has sold data on people.
It can also just be hacked, can't it? I mean,
but we need to know the limits of
May as well send all the DNA to Russia.
You need to know what they're going to test for. I think there are some conditions where a prick test of a baby could get them treated early on, and it can actually really help with quality of life. So for those conditions that it could make a positive intervention early on, this is really valuable. But it's that privacy thing.
And I can see the logic as well of, OK, we can see a trend that in 10 years' time we're going to have these conditions. The NHS needs to prepare for having to treat that, but yeah.
Let's just zone in, sorry to whiz us around a bit, but as another story, and this is actually also at the bottom of the Daily Telegraph, they've gone for Spain-handed power over Gibraltar visas. So, I'll read this to you. Spain has been granted new powers over visas and residency permits in Gibraltar in secret UK-EU talks over the ROC's new Brexit deal. UK and Gibraltarian ministers claimed there was no threat to British sovereignty after announcing the agreement to keep the border with Spain open last week. However, Spanish authorities will be able to carry out checks on those moving to the territory and play a joint role with Gibraltar on immigration and asylum cases. So, Jane, if that's true, it looks as though we might have been bit lied to about this Gibraltar deal?
I think it's an appalling deal. Anyway, I think a British person travelling to a British overseas territory should not potentially be prevented from entering British overseas territory by a Spanish customs person.
I don't think that's that unfair, is it? Is it, Barry? I mean, if have we been lied to here by David Lammy?
I don't know the details here. If you're coming from Spain, which is the main entry point, then you're coming from Spanish territory. And just as you would, for example, on the Eurostar, you'd go into France or come back here, you'd have the French customs and the English customs all on one side of the border.
But the airport's in Gibraltar, isn't it?
Airport is one
sure
thing,
it was in Gibraltar.
but there's the actual foot passageway, the foot crossing, where this happens all the time. So I don't know the details, but
it's not the same as Eurostar because you're about to enter French territory, so you've got French people in London who can say you're not getting on the train. This is people in a British overseas territory.
And these are visas, residency permits. So this is the right to be able to enter a British territory that Spain will be in charge of, which is directly contradictory to what we were told by David Lammy, if I remember rightly, would actually be happening. And I just, when if your government, Barry, and I'm going to blame you for this entirely,
obviously,
when are they going to just stop deciding to give away parts of British territory? Am I going to wake up tomorrow and find that I need a visa granted by Argentina to go into Wales?
Yes.
Only because it's you.
See that? A bespoke visa scheme.
You're going to need a visa to go to Leeds, Christo.
Well, you will after what you said earlier.
I'll tell you what, well, anywhere beyond the Watford Gap, I think, actually, Christo, based on what you said. So, yes, OK, let's just have a little reminder, shall we? Can I just remind our viewers and listeners a bit of some of the front pages? Can I do a bit of a run-through? Is that possible? Thank you. We'll start with The Sun. The Sun's front page, they go for the other big story of the day. This is very much, if you're watching this tomorrow, it'll probably be very much yesterday's news, but security shambles fury. They've gone for airheads, and this is the story about idiots, i.e. Palestine Action, spray painting a Royal Air Force jet after breaking in using scooters to our military airbase. It is right and proper, I think, that we raise questions about whether or not Palestine Action should be a terrorist group. I also think we should raise some serious questions about how the heck they managed to get there, because that's the other shocker here, isn't it? The fact that they were allowed there and seemingly got away scot-free. Can I also just say, I'm not sure...
to get into Gibraltar.
Yeah, it is. But I actually don't think we've even arrested anyone over this yet. I don't think we have. I could be wrong, and maybe by the time you're watching this tomorrow, we might have done. But my understanding is we haven't. So that's odd again, isn't it? Are these people still at large?
I haven't seen the detail. I don't think we have. Absolutely amazing. They got to an aircraft.
Yeah.
I presume they'd got in on their scooters and then they'd been apprehended. But it doesn't sound like that was what had happened. The fact they've gone up to a jet and the cost of repairing and
spraying into the engines.
Yeah, no arrests. I just want to confirm that. There have been no arrests.
Oh, my
Which is, I think, insane. Yeah. I mean, they filmed it. I get that they're not filmed their own faces, but...
The MOD will be
that's a military site.
Concerned about... I mean, that's shocking. It is shocking.
What on earth was going on with security? I mean, look, we all know that an airbase is a huge perimeter and it's difficult to secure a huge perimeter. But this is a military base.
Yeah.
And they should be able to protect their assets, which are our military assets. That's what these airlines were.
Can I just quickly do this now, actually? I don't know if anyone enjoys the races. If anyone's enjoyed the races, I've got a mixed relationship with the races. I don't particularly like gambling. I don't particularly like gambling on horses. However, I appreciate that loads of people do. Royal Ascot descended into chaos today. Let's have a look at this, shall we?
Bro gave him some bang.
Oh, it's a punch-up, isn't it? It happens every year, though. People go to the Guinness tent or the Whispering Angel tent, I think it is, at Ascot now, and they get bang on it all day, and then that happens.
Yeah, the thing is, we're going to end up, and just like with planes, we're going to end up in a situation where none of us are going to be able to enjoy a drink anywhere because of, like, morons like that.
Morons like that. Right, OK. When we come back, I am going to be revealing what Meghan Markle has done that has apparently sold out already. She's got a new range that you can buy. Oh, yes, everyone's going to be really excited. So, yeah, watch and learn next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The hot air that we've got across the UK on Saturday extends into France and Spain, but the chance of thunderstorms in these areas as well. Also the chance of thundery showers through Greece, but the islands should escape with sunny spells, albeit with a keen breeze. Through Italy, we've got plenty of sunny skies, but the Alps will see some lively weather with showers and thunderstorms, and those showers also affecting parts of Spain. But Portugal seeing largely sunny skies and plenty of sunshine through the outlook period.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our viewers and listeners. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation. No, because you're deliberately avoiding my point.
Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
What is the state of our economy? What is the state of our National Health Service? What is the state of our schools?
What on earth is going on?
Understanding Britain means understanding the state we are in. This is State of the Nation with me, Matt Goodwin, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays from 8 p.m. on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
OK, welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition. Quick run through the papers. Daily Mail. Now peers vow to fight law on assisted dying. The Independent MPs vote to make assisted dying legal by just 23 votes. The Sun have gone for airheads about the airplane breaking, but they've also got Asylum Hotel's rape cover-up. The Express has got victory for the assisted dying. The Mirror, MPs back assisted dying. I think that'll do us for this round of front pages at the moment, because I want to go to America, because some of Meghan Markle's behaviour over the years has driven people to drink, apparently, it says in my script. So maybe she's now trying to cash in on that by releasing her first alcoholic drink. Meghan is going to flog a rosé wine from the start of next month. Apparently, it has soft notes of stone fruit, gentle... What's that? Minerality. And a lasting finish. Wow.
I thought of a name for it.
Go on.
Mirror boycott my own father.
Oh, mate.
Mirror valiantly accuse everyone of racism around me.
Well, maybe she'll call her. Let's cross now to Los Angeles and speak to showbiz commentator and royal watcher Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, thank you very much. Thank you. Great to see you. Good stuff. So, what's going on with this rosé then?
Yeah, from Palace to Pinot, I guess. The rebrand continues. The Duchess of Sussex is now dabbling in drinks, adding a 2023 Napa Valley Rosé to her ever-expanding As Ever brand. Fitting, because she's been whining for years. It's her first sip into the booze biz, but let's be honest, probably not her last. The bottles dropped July 1st via her As Ever website. No word yet on price tag, but if I'm guessing, it's somewhere between Walmart Chic and Montecito markup. Word has it, it's best served chilled, like her relationship with the British royal family.
Oh, I love this. Yes, fantastic. Well done. I'm going to go back to you and see if you've got any more of this. But, I mean, so this is it going to have, do we know, is it going to have her name on it? Is this like, you know, Meghan's Rose? What is it? Is she just the face of someone else's wine? How's this going to work?
Yeah, well, I imagine it is going to be the As Ever packaging and branding. We found out about this about a year ago. It was supposed to come to fruition under the American Riviera Orchard brand, rest in peace. But as we've seen, that's evolved into As Ever. She claims that she's partners with Netflix. So I'm assuming they had the nice Napa Valley connections that helped this actually get up and running, because everything else seems to stall. But I do imagine we're going to see her calligraphy, all the gold leaves and the royal signatures and everything that she slaps on her loose fruit spread.
Can I ask a question?
Go on, Barry, yeah.
Can I ask a question? Have you tasted it yet, and is it any good?
No, I don't. If she watches my commentary, I imagine that there would be a little something extra in mine. So I'm going to avoid it. I value my life.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Kinsey, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to see you, and thank you for popping up for us from LA. So thank you very, very much. Kinsey Schofield, there on Meghan Markle's latest venture.
Do you know, I'm on her website now, and she sells crepe mix, shortbread cookie mix, apricot spread in keepsake packaging, everything sold out. Every single thing that she sells.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. Is that because she's actually not making that much of it? Do you know what I mean?
Flour sprinkles?
Like, if I started a company now that made T-shirts, whatever, and I made 2 T-shirts, then 2 people bought them, I'd sell out of it, wouldn't I? I mean, I don't know.
It's true, but I think she's missed a trick not having Markle's Sparkles. She could have put it in a soda stream.
Yeah, English marketing
wine. The baby dancing sham. You know, fizzy wine, but...
or a greetings card for an estranged family member,
I think
maybe.
they're so expensive. The jam was about £40 or something.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm amazed.
Raspberry spread is coming soon. Oh, that's only $9, the raspberry spread.
Oh, really?
Raspberry spread.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. We'll have to watch this space and find out whether or not, indeed, this is a roaring success for Meghan Markle. Barry's a connoisseur, and he doesn't seem like he's too impressed by this. So there we go. Maybe it will not be on the Gardner bar anytime soon. Right, well, look, thank you very much. Thanks to our panel. I really appreciate you sticking around for the extra hour tonight. We've had a busy night. I hope that you do watch this show and just rewind at the start, because I think there was an interesting story there about in The Sun about asylum seeker hotels, quotes, rape, cover-up, which I suspect we're going to be doing a lot of talking about on this channel either tomorrow, or if you're watching us at about 5 or 6 a.m. later on today. Don't forget to stay tuned to GB News Breakfast, and please don't forget that you can stay with us all day, not just on TV, but on radio as well, and on your smart speaker. Listen to us on your smart speaker by shouting, play GB News on TuneIn. That's all we have time for tonight. Thank you very much, everybody, for a lovely week, and I hope to see you again on Monday at 9 p.m. But, of course, before then, take it easy. See you then.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house.
Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Plenty of weather to talk about this weekend. Saturday's another hot day for many, but not for all. And then comes the risk of some lively thunderstorms as fresher air arrives from the west. We've got high pressure still in control as we go into the weekend, but that's shifting east, allowing hot air to be drawn northwards across the UK. Certainly a warm night tonight, despite the clear skies. Temperatures widely holding up in the mid to high teens and in some spots no lower than 20 or 21 Celsius. Chances of some thicker cloud and some showers coming into the southwest by dawn. Otherwise, it's a dry and warm start to the weekend. Those temperatures are soon rising, particularly through the Midlands and eastern England. That's going to be where we'll see the highest temperatures through the day. Some cloud, some low cloud hugging the coast of eastern Scotland, but it's a relatively warm start wherever you are. Now, we do have some cloud arriving into Northern Ireland, and it's in Northern Ireland, western Scotland, parts of West Wales and the southwest where the first signs of a change are arriving. A chance of some showers coming through, but the main activity really is at the end of Saturday. Ahead of any showers, we keep the strong June sunshine at its strongest on Saturday, the summer solstice, of course, and that will allow temperatures to rise widely into the high 20s, low 30s across eastern parts of the UK, and could be as high as 34 Celsius, depending on the timing of any cloud and showers arriving from the west. It's going to feel a bit fresher in the west, but still relatively humid, and then we've got these lively thunderstorms moving through overnight. North Wales, North Midlands, Northern England could see some absolute whoppers causing all manner of impacts. And then on Sunday, the chance of some further heavy downpours into Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales before all that clears away, and a changeable week next week, but feeling fresher.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast